hello. Welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is an update in the Sandra Birchmore case. We have been covering the Sandra Birchmore case in a deep dive where, if you would like more information, I recommend going back to the beginning. Who is Sandra Birchmore? What do we know about this case? That was even before we knew that Matthew Farwell was going to be arrested by the feds. So, at this point in time, if you don't know who Sandra Birchmore is, I highly recommend going back to the episode one. So, I'll give you a little recap. She was about 13, 14 years old when she entered an explorers program for the youth in Stoughton, the town of Stoughton, Massachusetts. It's an explorers program that, it's nationwide. I did a whole episode on, it was started by the Cub Scouts of America. So what does that tell you? And they kind of have a similar kind of grooming pattern. So in this program, she signed up because she always wanted to be an officer. She looks up to law enforcement. She joined this program. It's basically so kids can learn the day-to-day job of law enforcement, and it can prepare them for a career in law enforcement if that's what they choose. So she started while I think you have to be 14, but she signed up prior to and was like, I can't remember what they called it. She wasn't she wasn't quite on the Explorers program as a member until she was 14. We know from admissions of Matthew Farwell that he started grooming her and having intimate relations with her when she was underage at 15. The age of consent in Massachusetts is 16, which I still think is way too young. But that being said, he broke the law and he's been arrested, not for the crimes against Sandra Birchmore in the SA, but for her taking her life. So William Farwell and Matthew Farwell, both instructors of this program, were grooming her, and William has his own post-commission hearings, and this is Robert Devine, who was the chief deputy at the time and the person that was in charge of the Explorers program. So he has been decertified and he is fighting the charges, and so is William. Matthew Farwell, before he was arrested federally, he gave up his certification in exchange for, I guess, not getting charges pressed against him at the time. I don't know what his reward was for that, but he gave up his certification and didn't try to fight it. He willingly decertified. So these post-hearing commissions, it's peace officer something something. I don't know what post stands for. They'll say it in here. But so these post-commission hearings, they're the ones that oversee the certifications of these officers. So there's going to be legal representatives from posts that are trying to decertify the officers, Robert Devine and William Farwell, and who's I believe his William Farwell's last hearing was canceled, by the way. Probably, well, rumor is he might be making a deal. Who knows? His last hearing was canceled, and uh, I think he got all new attorneys. Um, he his other attorneys left like right in the in the last, like, since the previous post hearing before this last one that was scheduled, I think 2 weeks ago or something, and they no reason why they canceled it. They did not give us any reason. So we know William Farwell is going to have another hearing coming at some point, but we don't know what's going on and how that's going to be dealt with. But here we are with Robert Devine and his hearing to decertify. And he has his representative trying to keep him certified, and we shall see what they say. Let me shrink myself. And this, I believe this is a judge.
Morning, Judge Richmond.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's a judge.
Is everybody else ready for to get started?
This is likely the clerk. I cannot see. It's very blurry what it says. But I believe he's the clerk then if he's like moderating.
Yes. Then I will start the recording and we can start.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. The time is 9:44 a.m. This is a pre-hearing conference in the matter of Robert Devine, case number 2024-004-S before the Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. This is a public proceeding and proper notice has been provided. We're convening remotely via Zoom and this pre-hearing conference is being recorded. The Honorable Kenneth J. Fishman will be the presiding officer over the pre-hearing conference today. My name is Alex Utz, and I'm the legal fellow for the Post Commission. The matter is now before Judge Fishman.
Oh, so he's the legal representative for the Post Commission. He is not the clerk. I am totally mistaken. All right, so he is the attorney now, the attorney for Robert Devine. Or no, I'm sorry, the attorney for Post Commission. Oh my God, I'm gonna get it together one of these days. My brain, it's all over the place all the time. Sorry for the madness and the chaos.
All right. Good morning, counsel.
Morning.
And I think I saw, and good morning, Mr. Devine, as well.
Morning, Your
Honor. Sorry for the delay. Got little wires crossed on the schedule, so I apologize for that. Anyway, why don't we, let me just hear where we are vis-a-vis where we left off last time, dealing with review of discovery material, etc.
FYI, there are no captions, unfortunately.
Mr. You can bring us up to date. That'd be great.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. When we last met, I had just received the 1 terabyte hard drive from the town, but from Stoughton, but I hadn't reviewed it at that point. I have since tried to review it, couldn't download it. Contacted Amy Bratsky from the town from which it came. She was having problems downloading her own terabyte of information. She was having a consultant come in to find out how she could open it. She was unsuccessful.
So they cannot open the discovery from remember they wanted all the discovery from the AG's office regarding this case so that they could better prepare for their hearing. And Sandra Birchmore's attorney also got in on that motion. It was William Farwell's motion, actually. But it's going to help all sides. Everyone, if the AG can turn over their discovery that is discoverable, then that could help them in their case.
Successful with that. I got back to her about a week ago. A little more than a week ago, I dropped off my hard drive to her for it to be updated. In the meantime, other events have happened. So I don't have access to the terabyte hard drive. I haven't had it. I've tried to get it, and it's also happened to, I think, the other attorneys in the case. I spoke with Attorney Welch for Matthew Farwell. He was unable to open his either, and he has returned his to the town to update it. I talked with Attorney Bratsky here this morning. She tells me that she hasn't had the opportunity yet to download the information to the drive I delivered to her. So my hands are tied with the town. In the meantime, I believe we had referenced it before that the attorney for William Farwell had done a keeper of record deposition for the state police who said they didn't have records. He then did a keeper of record deposition for the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office was fighting that. He filed a motion to compel. That motion to compel was heard and by Judge Coltier, who wrote a decision on August 26th, releasing some of the information, but not all of the information. And I have provided Sean Martinez a copy of that.
What judge did you say issued that?
Cloutier, Cloutier.
Okay.
We read through that in the last episode on Sandra Birchmore. She did order some of the discovery, not all of it, but she ordered a lot of it to be turned over from the AG's office to the defendants and the plaintiff in this case.
And the clerk's notice is dated August 27th, 2024, but her judge's memorandum of decision is dated August 26th, 2024. And I have them here. 2 days after that order was issued, I don't know if I'm sure you've heard, Matthew Farwell was arrested. Well, I'm sorry, I'm moving ahead of myself. backing up to that order. So that order provides from August 26, 2024 by Judge Cloutier, provides that the Attorney General's office respond to several different aspects of the keep a record deposition. So they're supposed to provide them. I spoke with the attorney Conley, who represents William Farwell, yesterday, and I asked him the status of these records, and he said they were supposed to be produced by yesterday, but he hadn't received them yet, and he would keep me posted. I saw nothing in the orders saying that yesterday was a deadline, but that's what he told me yesterday. So I will follow up with him. As a segue,
Sounds like there's all sorts of discovery issues that we're dealing with here.
to that, as you've probably heard, Matthew Farwell has been detained for murder of Ms. Birchmore.
Yep.
And going through the affidavit from the special agent dated August 28, 2024, which was 2 days after Judge Cloutier's order, at paragraph 105, there is a reference to Ms. Birchmore's journals. I haven't seen the journals, and the journals document her, I guess, activity since 2013. I suspect that my client is not in those journals. And one of the allegations, I think, in this case is that my client was having relations with Ms. Birchmore while he was on the job.
There's evidence that he was having relations with her while he was on the job. Through text messages, through his own text messages. However, to Sandra. However, they're trying to say because she didn't write about him in a journal that it didn't happen. Maybe she didn't want to write about it because it was not a pleasant memory. Maybe she didn't enjoy doing those things.
If Ms. Birchmore, if my client is not referenced in these journals, his absence, I think, is exculpatory. As I said, I haven't seen these journals. I don't know if they're part of the
The absence of his name in these journals, which he hasn't even seen, proves that his client's innocent. Okay, buddy.
the records that are supposed to be produced by the Attorney General's office or not. Also, something has come to light about some discovery after talking with Attorney Bratskier about the evidence that was provided to Mr. Martinez by the town that we have to explore, which I've talked with Attorney Martinez. I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about the evidence given the protective orders we have in this case, but I think that's something he and I can work out. But I guess as far as the discovery is concerned, I don't have control over the terabyte. The town's supposed to give it to me. They say they're going to give it to me. I had the conversation with Attorney Bratskier actually this morning before the hearing. I actually delivered my drive to her at her house on a particular afternoon. So that's going. We haven't gotten any information from the Attorney General's office pursuant to the judge's order of August 26th. And I don't know where the journal is for Ms. Birchmore, which I believe my client's absence from would be exculpatory, as is all of the emails. My client's absence from those emails, I think, is also exculpatory, but that's to be seen because I haven't seen them all. And that's a status of discovery. I think we scheduled the dates, a pretrial and a trial date, in the anticipation that we would have all the information by now. But a lot has happened, I think, in the last month and a half, including, judge's decision came down, the arrest of Matthew Farwell, and the release of the 45-page affidavit for the motion of detention on Mr. Matthew Farwell, which is very revealing and contains a lot of information that I wouldn't be allowed to disclose.
It sure does. We read through it here on this channel.
Based upon the current orders by the courts and Your Honor. And that's where I am. I briefly discussed this. Sorry.
Excuse me. No, go ahead.
I briefly discussed this with Mr. Martinez, and I think, and I'm not speaking for him, but I think he understands where I am as far as needing to look at the information. And we did schedule, I think, the trial and the pretrial in anticipation that I would have this information, would be able to go forward. But I'm still up in the air with the discovery. And I don't think the schedule we have right now makes sense, given the information I now have that there's a journal out there.
Did you, do I remember that you knew something about the journal being out there and anticipated that the drive you were going to get from the town was going to contain that as well?
I did. It was my understanding is there were two exhibits in the report, in the internal affairs report. There were two exhibits, and those two exhibits were complete computer dumps of Ms. Birchmore's computer. And that's what none of us got. And I think the journal would be contained, I suspect. I mean, people keep journals in their computers, I suspect, and that's probably what's in there. So that's I think where it is. I don't think anyone's seen it. And I think that if there is a journal and it's referenced in the motion of detention, and my client's not in there, I think that's a powerful piece of evidence that she's recording everything and we're not recorded.
Okay. And just to sort of make sure that the record is complete, Mr. Martinez, you haven't seen that material either, I gather.
That's correct.
Okay. And I mean, it's just odd. Obviously, this is information that's been available to the Commonwealth. I'm not talking about post-commission or the division for some period of time now, that it can't be transmitted to you and shared with you is curious, despite technical difficulties.
Right. That's why we had to get an order to compel the Attorney General's office to give us the information. And
Right.
of course, we're dealing with federal court. Federal court doesn't have to give you anything. You know, they don't even give you grand jury minutes.
Right. No, I know. I faced that a lot over my career. So dealing with the federal court. Well, so as a practical matter, you really want to extend the deadlines here so that it gives you time to work out this discovery. Is that
I do.
fair to say?
I think I owe that to my client.
Right. Mr. Martinez, how do you feel about that?
Yes, I think that given that at this stage there still seems to be well in the thick of discovery in the civil case, I do feel that it's appropriate. I don't think that we've gotten to the point yet where you know, the well seems to be running dry to the point that we need to you know, rush to this hearing and say we need to keep these dates no matter what. I do understand where Mr. Stowe is coming from, and at the same time, that while there may be material that benefits him out there, there may also be material that benefits Post as well. And I think I do think that it would be appropriate to wait on at least some of these records. Maybe if we reach an impasse at some point in the future, we go to the hearing either way. But I think we're at the point still where discovery seems to be very active still.
Well, I agree. And as a practical matter, with the commencement of the criminal proceedings, that too may open up a large door, as it has with the affidavit, and even
Things are going to change now that we have all that information from the feds about Matthew Farwell and what was going on. And the fact that even though he tried to delete all of his messages and he had Sandra also delete all of her messages between him, they still found them. The feds know, which is why I think it would be in the best interest of William Farwell and Devine to maybe cooperate with the feds. But I don't think they want to do that. I don't know. Nobody wants to be the hero. I guess, you know, being a corrupt cop means you just stay a corrupt cop and you hide behind lawyers because a hero would come forward and tell the truth as to what was going on. I mean, I'm not saying that either of these guys are heroes because what they did was horrible. But what I'm saying is, you know, any of these cops that speak out against other cops, look at the Enrique case. Enrique Delgado Garcia, who lost his life in some kind of boxing training exercise with a room full of people. So those recruits, those Mass State recruits, need to speak up and say something. The people that were there. And until cops start telling on other cops, we're not going to have change. And until the feds take over, we're not going to have change. Not that the feds are the best to deal with it either. I mean, we shouldn't have to deal with it. We should trust our officers to not be corrupt.
beyond of discovery issues and discovery materials. So I don't have the existing dates in front of me. What were they? What did we set it for?
We had a free trial scheduled for November 14th, and we had the trial scheduled for December 11th.
Okay. As a practical matter, I mean, I want us to keep control over this, so we need to set another date for this. I think we should set a further status conference without setting a new hearing and trial date. That it makes sense to me. I don't want to keep changing these dates
So before you change all the dates, he's going to check in with everybody, basically.
until we know we're in a position to move forward. So why don't we, and we're going to cancel, Alex, the pre-trial and trial dates, all right? And then let's set a further status conference. What do you think under the circumstances makes sense?
Well, if the Attorney General's office was to provide the information by yesterday. I suspect that Attorney Conley will be on them today trying to get that information. I do know, additionally, there's a motion circulating right now to give the attorneys in the criminal case against Matthew Farwell access to the civil documents, provided they fall under the same protective order, so that they can get access to it to help them in his criminal defense. None of the parties have objected to that motion, so I suspect that will be filed very shortly. Given that criminal case, and I know he has I think his next appearance is October 17th. And I would think that the criminal attorneys are going to be trying to get that information before that date, all of the information, so they can defend him in the murder charge. So I'm just throwing that out there as I suspect that the dissemination of this information should be clearly available if they're going to get in the criminal case by October 17th. So I'm just trying to throw out some.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. And as a practical matter, we all know that a criminal case is likely to get more attention anyway in terms of process, and that may end up working to our process's benefit as well. What do you think about using, because it's not only getting it, you're going to need an opportunity, as you did before, to review it. Sounds like it's fairly substantial, and the division will need time to review it as well. What if we used our pretrial hearing date that we had for the next status conference for us? I think that's November 14th. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Having said that, I want to make sure nothing's changed. Instead of a second. Yeah, that's so November 14th makes sense. We'll hold that date for the next status conference. Hopefully we'll be able to schedule a future dates at that time, because discovery will be completed. And we'll do this if both parties are still available on that date. We'll what's the 14th? Yeah, 14th. We'll do the same thing. We'll schedule it for 9:30.
That works.
All right, and this time I'll be on time. So is there anything else you think we need to cover at this point?
I know the trial date is off, and we'll just get the status date on November 14th.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Be in touch. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, that is the end of that. So pretty boring discovery issues, which happens in every case, as you can see, and not getting what you need to litigate your case. So this guy, Martinez, he's the one that is doing the litigation against Robert Devine. So it's going to benefit him as well if they get all this discovery from the AG, as well as Sandra Birchmore and her team, because they have a civil suit. So this is the post-commission hearing, but there's also a civil suit with Sandra Birchmore's aunt as the representing the estate of Sandra Birchmore. So her aunt, Darlene Smith, has a civil suit against Town of Stoughton, the Stoughton PD, William Farwell, Matthew Farwell, and Robert Devine. And Josh Heel, who is another one who was the animal control officer in Stoughton, who may or may not have had some inappropriate relations with Sandra Birchmore. So there's that. And we will keep you posted on any new information and upcoming hearings. We will see you November 14th for the status hearing of Robert Devine at 9:30. It is scheduled. So I will do a recording on that and get it to you when that happens and keep you guys updated. Let me know if you guys have questions about the Sandra Birchmore case or any of these cases that I reference, especially, Karen Reed, Justin Root, Enrique, Justice for Enrique. All of these cases are interrelated because they have multiple people involved that are the same in each case. So more and more information is going to come out about this. So we'll see what happens, and I'll see you guys probably before November 14th, but we'll make sure that we cover all these post hearings so you don't miss it. Make sure you're subscribed. Please hit the like button on your way out, and I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.